everybody, welcome to Dakman Productions, and welcome back to behind the scenes of the Raritan Valley High Railers, here with Matt Sniffen. And during this video, he's going to show us behind the scenes of a new module they're building. And the reason why they're building this new module is for their brand new Millhouse River coal dump. So let's take a look at what he's doing and the different products that he's using to build this module layout. That's so cool.
Obviously, at the shows, there'll be coal in there.
Right, yeah.
I just don't have any right now.
And who makes this rotary dump?
Millhouse River.
Millhouse River?
Yeah, Millhouse River Studios.
Is this something new they're offering? I never
He's had it for quite a few years.
Have they?
Yeah, he makes the turntables. We have our turntable on the layout as a Millhouse.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the Millhouse River turntables. I just never knew they made
transfer bridges.
Right.
He's got an operating conveyor. He's actually making a coal loader. He's in the process of making that now.
Okay.
But I mean, it's all water jetted aluminum. So I mean, they're bulletproof. This stuff is bulletproof.
Oh, okay.
Heavy, very heavy, but nice for transport. That drum lifts right out.
Okay. Wow.
Yes, and it's it's literally a one button push. So, you kind of eyeball to get it on there, but it does have an LED that tells me when I can go. So like, it'll flash green right now, and then when it goes solid green, I know I can move the thing out.
Oh wow.
And you go to the next car. And obviously you got to use cars that have rotary couplers on them.
Yes. So how do you know when this thing is lined up?
Well, you eye it first, but it's got sensors.
Okay.
So I like doing it by eye. And then, so like I think that's good there. I look down here and I got a green LED. There's an LED back here, you can't see it.
Okay.
But I have a green LED, so that tells me that it's good to go.
Alright, I see it.
One button push, comes down, locks the car in, and it's totally does its...
It's all automated from there.
All automated from there.
Sort of like the real thing, isn't it?
It's exactly, and then he has this prototypically set for speed. So he goes, you can speed it up if you want. There, I can move some wires around. You can actually add a different voltage to it. But he's like, that's not really prototypical. Because he's like, when they bring in an 80-car train, in real life, he goes, it takes all day to unload it. So he's like, you're not going to be doing 80 cars at the show. He goes, you'll be all day.
You'll be all day.
So, we figured we'll do like 5-6 cars at a time.
Right.
And there's people standing but I mean, this is the stuff I like, is see how close you are to this. That's what the public loves. They love being that close. And you'll see, that you'll watch the coal dump into the collection bin below.
All right.
You can see I've got a little bit down there. I was playing with it.
Yeah.
And that's it. You just keep going and going, and it goes the next car, next car. Meanwhile, that's all the main line, so you got, trains running, whizzing by as you're doing your work.
And what brand name of the rail cars are you using for this?
These are Lionel's.
Lionel. Are they the only ones that made the rotary?
Atlas made them. Somebody told me MTH made them, but I've never been able to find one.
I've never seen one.
But the Atlas ones were die cast. They're heavy. That's what they use up at New Jersey High Railers. They have the Atlas ones. Okay. So the only thing with the Lionel, Al from Millhouse told me, he said, just make sure you really have the couplers lubricated on these. Because if not, when they're empty, they're light, he goes, you'll flip the car.
Oh.
And that's it. I got a green light, and then I could go to the next one.
This is so neat.
And you just keep unloading cars. So, yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, very cool.
I'm going to pull it out of here. And the dead rail is perfect for this, because I can control it at such slow speeds.
And you're using RailPro for this?
No, this is who makes this? Airwire.
Oh, the air wire?
Yeah, so the system I have is AirWire, and then with a Tsunami sound.
Okay.
So it's a CVP. Is the company that makes this. Doesn't matter what one you want right now. You can't find boards for any of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody's in the same boat when it comes to that.
Yeah, so thank goodness all my stuff's done. So these will all be detailed. So, you know, obviously, you know, I mean, you know, power plants are massive over acres, so I had to compress this down.
Right.
So this is your control area where you watch the coal coming in. You're going to assume that the crusher is underneath here.
Okay.
So this is, you know, where the pulverized coal will go up the conveyor here. Drop down, I'm actually going to detail all the insides of these buildings. So there'll be 4 boilers in here. So each one of these, there's another smokestack here. These have smoke units in them. These things will can pump smoke out. I've got some massive smoke units here, so it shows. You'll really see some smoke pumping out.
I'm just amazed by how the pipe PVC to the.
So this is I took the pipe and then I did all. So this is all rivet detailed styrene, and then I made these little cages. I actually have the ladders. I have the ladders, the cage ladders that'll go up the side. But I ordered it's string light chip LEDs that I'm going to have lights running down the sides of these.
Oh, okay.
So I can't install the ladders, so I install the lights. The lights, they haven't come in yet. But then this lifts off that I can get to the smoke units, if you know, to fill them and everything. Those smoke units it's a Scale Harbor is the company that produces them. They're actually made for model ships. So they pump a lot of smoke. And they have big reservoirs in them, so they'll smoke for a while. I'm sure Greenberg will be like, you got to turn it off. But anyway, then so you'll see the boilers. Then there'll be piping that goes across here. And then I had a company called Shapeways. They 3D printed me turbines.
They're big, pretty big.
They're huge. They're huge. They printed me some turbines.
And you can pretty much order any scale from them?
You can order anything you want from that. Well, if you want something produced,
okay,
and you send them drawings, they'll make anything, but then they charge you for that. This, you go on their thing and you type in a search, and I typed in a search of 1/48 scale turbines, electrical turbines, and then somebody had obviously said they had them, so then I was able to buy them.
Okay.
This is a company called Digital Multi-Scale Digital, but they make all these 3D printed stuff for electrical stuff like transformers. So I'll have those in there. So then but then there'll be the return piping comes in here. This is the condensing unit that I made.
Okay.
So that'll be, in a real thing that would condense then the steam back down in the water back to reflow again. So it's a very simplified, but I have all the components. And then you got my, you'll appreciate this. This is my service area down here for the trucks. I got an inspection pit in there.
Oh, cool. I gotta see this. Oh, yeah, look at that. That is cool.
And then there's a little office actually back there. So, like when you really, look down, there's all kinds of details that'll be in there.
Yeah.
But how I love detailing the insides of buildings. So these will all be fully detailed on the inside.
Right. Let me get the inside of this real quick because I'm sure people are gonna want to see the inside of this. Oh man, that is so nice.
I actually I have little desks that I'm working on. There'll be guys that do, the service guys and everything. But I'll have one bucket truck in there. I'll actually build a lift. You'll actually have to send me some pictures. I'm sure you have pictures of the lifts you guys use at your shop.
I wish we had this. My company's too cheap.
Oh, you don't have any lifts?
No.
I use inspection pit. Like, how do you work on the? So, what do you just crawl underneath the truck?
Well,
creeper.
They're getting kind of low now with the aerodynamics. So basically, we have to drive them up on ramps. So, and then they just bought some brand new 2022 Chemerers, right? And I'm looking at this truck, and it had the aerodynamic front dam is down to the ground. I'm like, this is not going up a ramp. He says, yes, it will. I'm like, no, it will not. So he said, well, let's see. Let's pull the truck up on a ramp, right? So I bring the ramps over there. I didn't even make it probably not even 2 inches before it started bending up the bumper. He says, whoa, stop. Yep, you're right. It's not going to work. So now we're stuck taking off the front bumper so we can get them up on the ramp.
Oh my lord! How long does that take? Taking from Brooklyn?
So, when I worked at the dealerships, yes, we had actual what they call column lifts to pick up the trucks.
Yeah, the 4 columns. There.
Yep, the 4 columns.
So I think that's what I'm going to produce. I'll Google some pictures.
And
I mean, obviously, mine's not going to be operating. I'm just going to have where the truck's sitting and the lift's there.
so yeah, I wish that they would buy, but they're like $20,000 a piece.
I mean, it's a tool. Like,
I know.
even my own company, if there's a tool I need, and it's going to pay back dividends for me, then we buy it.
Yeah, but I was told, nope, we're getting ramps. Take off the bumper. Like I said, I work for International dealership and a Kenworth dealership, and they both supplied column lifts, and it was so much nicer, especially for doing stuff like dry shaft, U-joints, transmission work, and hopefully my company doesn't watch this video, hear me complaining, but
You can always edit that out.
yeah, but I really don't care because I like to voice my opinion to them anyway.
Oh, they obviously like you. They gave you a truck. So, these are all. This is Woodland Scenics. I wasn't going to take the time to scratch build that, especially when it's available.
Yeah, I mean, Woodland Scenics make some nice, realistic.
Woodland Scenics makes some really, and their weathering. I really like their weathering. They do a really nice job.
Yeah, they make some really nice stuff.
And the trucks are all. I mean, they're cool, but they're actually not expensive. They're all new, Ray. So they're the mix of plastic die-cast.
Yeah, I mean
these pickup trucks, the Super Duties, they're like $6 a piece, and I think these were $18 a piece. The buckets and then the auger. So this will all be fenced in area. I'll have like telephone poles and stuff,
right.
And a couple trains. Yes.
I wasn't sure. I'm glad that you had these out because I've seen the new Ray stuff. But I wasn't sure how close to scale it was to be.
Well, these are 1/43rd, so none of it is to scale. It's all of that stuff's 1/43rd, so it's a little overscale.
Right.
But it's fine. It gets the point across.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I consider 143, scale for them. I mean, it's close enough.
But, these will all get let. So, John, I don't know if you remember John Giuliani. So he's the one he moved. These actually used to be his modules. So he sold them to the club and. They don't look anything now what they used to, but this is gonna be Giuliani Power Company.
Oh, okay.
So Mel's like, God. John's definitely gonna see that on the video. That was Mel who voiced his opinion that he doesn't want a Giuliani Power Company. But anyway, so I have old custom decals made up and everything. That's all the trucks will be decal Giuliani Power Company, and
okay,
I'll custom paint all of them.
All right.
I mean, I'll probably mimic JCP&L trucks for their colors, just because I see those every day around here.
That's so cool. Well, I'm really glad to get behind the scenes and see all this and how you guys are progressing. I couldn't imagine you guys getting this far. I mean...
Well, now you can see, too. Remember, I tried to explain to you, but it's all black foam core. That's how I shape all the buildings. They're all, because then that way, like, I mean, you could see, like, this thing like this, I must have cut that thing apart 10 times and re-glued it back together. So it makes it very easy to cut and piece and add and do whatever. Like this part, I just made this morning because I wanted a little, I like when cars go through and under things. And
yeah.
So it's another little control, I wanted something, there. But it's very quick to do, it's just hot glue gun. And then here I'll get what this is getting covered with. This is a foam brick that I'm very sad because I just bought everything that Seeing Express has left because Hecky has discontinued making this.
Oh.
So and when he told me that, but I mean it's a quartz, really nice and it's super light, easy to work with, easy to like when I do the corners, all I do is I take a knife and I just jab all the ends and then paint the edge and it blends right in. It's stuff is really easy to work with. So I'm a little sad that they're not making it anymore. But that's all these buildings will all be brick.
Is there like somebody else who's going to be making it? Do you know?
No, not that I know of. Because the thing now is everybody laser cuts stuff.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the laser printers have become so inexpensive that people are just buying them for themselves. So there's guys online I follow that laser cut brick buildings, and they come out amazing. I like this because it's light. You know, our stuff, you got to try to make it as light as possible.
Right. I didn't realize there was a laser printer.
Yeah, they laser print. There's a guy, Dirt Spot 7 on Facebook. He's phenomenal, but he laser prints, laser cuts all his stuff, and then weathers it. I mean, it's so real looking.
Wow.
Because he can laser cut in the cracks in the mortar, everything. You know, basically when you lay out on, you know, you need some computer skills.
Right.
But once you lay everything out and do everything out, I mean, it prints exactly what you need, you know. Where with this is, you know, you if I want to create like a damage, I got to create that damage myself.
Okay.
Which, you know, typically does happen.
Oh yeah.
Why I'm constructing, I'll break something and I'll be like, ah, let's make it damage. So the windows, these big windows that I made, and then the frame around the condensing unit, that's actually made from. Those are grids that you put in drop ceilings, lights.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I use to saves you a lot of time. And these are cheap. They're like $8. And I mean, you know, as you can see, I mean, how much I've made already, and I still have a ton left.
Wow. So you really think out the materials.
I've used that stuff before on projects.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's crazy. And so, what are you going to use for your windows and stuff?
So anything, the big windows, you can see I started to manufacture what it's going to be. So that's actually chicken wire. I mean, I'll grind all the edges because I use chicken wire for all my railings and everything.
Okay.
And then I cut and snip what I don't need, and then I just grind out the imperfections. This is all chicken wire up here. So I'll make these windows. They'll have the little squares there with the open, like the industrial windows that have the small part that open.
Right.
And then anything else that's small is all titchy.
Is that just typical chicken wire, or I mean, is there a special name for it?
So that's the half-inch grid.
Oh,
I have all different size grids up there. That's a half-inch grid.
Okay, because I think somebody asked the last video I made, and I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I forget what gauge it is. It's stuff Home Depot sells. Just don't get the not the plastic coated. You want the just raw chicken wire.
Raw chicken wire.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, like I said, I cut it. I make all my railings and everything with it.
Now, are you using the actual building as an inspiration, or? Oh.
Those are my pictures that I got my inspiration from.
All right. Well, let me get up over there, and we'll take a closer look for the.
So that's where I got my inspiration for the stacks.
Okay. So yeah, okay. So you just go on Google and
Google
find
some, which it's not as easy as you think it is. I don't know if that's a after 9/11 thing or something, but when you Google pictures of power plants, you'll get a lot of stuff comes up.
I never even thought about that.
And I was like, I wonder if I'm download all these pictures, there's gonna be little black SUVs pulling up outside of my house, asking me questions. Because I Googled how does a power plant work. A power plant. So they're going, oh boy, I'm in trouble. I figured out if they do show up, I'll bring them out here, and they'll be like, all right, you're just a nerd. So, he's not a threat. Stand down.
Stand down. How did you get this painted like that?
That's model came that way.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, if I did want to do that, I would paint it, you know, the white color first or the red whatever, and then I would cut squares and lay it out on there and then repaint it. Like,
okay.
But that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But like even like this stuff, like typically what I do is I paint it all one mass color and then go back and detail paint. So, you know, detail paint the silver, detail paint the black, the yellow.
All right. Very nice.
And then, like I said, there's the smoke in it.
Okay, yeah, let's take a look at that while we're in here. Wow.
So this will be, I can lift this off at a show and then take a little eyedropper.
Now, how many volts do these run on?
12.
They're 12 volt?
But except they're 12 volt DC. So all of my lights and everything is all 12 volt AC. So I could rectify whatever, but I have a plug-in DC 12 volt DC transformer for the the smoke units.
Yeah, about to say, you know, I mean, they make DC.
Well,
power
they're
supplies,
12 volt DC because they're meant for remote control boats, which run off battery.
Yeah.
You know, which so your batteries are all DC.
Because I have a 12 volt DC supply you can just buy from, you know,
Yeah.
Harbor Freight, whatever. Well, I can't wait to see that in operations.
Yeah, that'll. Once I get some more, I'll probably figure and wire all those in.
These AC units, are you getting them from Shapeways too?
Yeah, this is no, this is Model Tech Studios.
Model Tech Studios.
Yeah.
So there seems to be quite a bit of different sources.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of sources out there. I mean, I buy a little bit. I actually get because Scenic Express carries Model Tech Studio, not as full line. And listen, nothing against Model Tech Studios. Their stuff is amazing. Their website is horrendous.
Oh.
Trying to order stuff from them, it's like pulling teeth. But their stuff is cool. And the only show he does is Amherst.
Okay.
So last time I went to the Amherst show, I loaded up on a lot of his stuff too.
Yeah, because I know you had gone through quite a bit of manufacturers the first time we did this video.
Yeah, there's a lot like the brass pieces. That's where are they at? They're back here. I buy a lot of brass stuff from them. So, Precision Scale and Company. So they make all the brasses. So there's the seats that'll be. You know, these are all for engine. You know, for trains for doing details. But I'm going to use them for other. So that like that control thing stand there. That's actually I'm going to use as like the control stand that they use to control the conveyor and everything, and then brake wheel handles. But I'm actually going to use those as pipe valves.
I didn't realize they made one. That's some cool detail stuff.
There's all kinds of Precision Scale.
All right.
Sure, that's a company because Mel's thing is he likes to detail engines.
Okay.
So I'm sure it's a company he uses all the time.
Yeah, Shapeways is actually one of the companies that was going to build me the baby face.
Shapeways is like I said, they're a huge company. Like they
Actually, they're Sweden, I think.
they 3D print. No, they're Long Island.
They're in Long Island, but their main company's out of Sweden.
But they like 3D print like prosthetic legs, and I mean they have like the millions of the dollar 3D printers. You know, they'll 3D print anything. But like I said, you pay for it, but they have but you be chainsaws. I did a project where I wanted chainsaws. I went on their 148 scale chainsaws. They had them. You know, they said, so I mean, they're $3-4 a piece. But if they have to design something for you, then I'm told that's hundreds of dollars for them to design, and then they'll print it for you.
Okay.
So if if I couldn't find these, and the thing is, I wasn't even set necessarily to the scale. I could have probably gone up another scale on these. It wouldn't have mattered because I mean that equipment is massive that's in these power plants. But it just happened to be they had what I needed, and when you stand a quarter-inch scale person next to these, I have pictures of people standing next to the turbines. It's about the right size it needs to be. And I'll paint it, I'll paint it machine green, and I'll detail in some silver like where the armatures are and stuff. And I mean, from a distance it'll look great. I'll get some piping comes down to it, and some electrical conduit.
And when you go to do these buildings, because everybody is attracted by the lights that you guys do on your layout.
These will have all interior lighting. There'll be all kinds of floodlights that shine down to here. Like this will be, I'm going to outdo myself with these. You'll need sunglasses. I'll be handing out sunglasses when people come by. So,
and who's you use one lighting supplier?
90% of my stuff. All my LED stuff is all Evans Design.
Oh, okay.
And then all of my incandescents that I use are all Minitronics.
Oh, okay.
The incandescents I use are really like the overhead door lights and stuff like that. I still kind of like the look of the incandescents there. But all of my and then if you want it to look like an older, halogen light or something, then use warm color LEDs.
Right, okay.
If you want it to look more like a mercury vapor or something, then you use the cool. Because that almost has like a bluish color to it, and it kind of does look like a mercury vapor.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll use different types because there are different types of lights on it. So you see on some of the modules I'll have some cool, I'll have some warm.
Yeah, there seems to be a variety that you.
And then all those string lights that I put on it, that's all Evans Designs. Yeah, they've got a lot of neat stuff. The flickering lights that I'll use, like inside the boilers, I'll have those flickering lights.
Yeah.
Like there's a fire going on. That's all Evans. I'll have the flashing red lights up here. That's Evans. And then the nice thing with them is they So here's one here. So there's your LED strip, but then you put down what you want. And they set the rectifiers and they set everything. So this is a flashing unit, but this is a flicker flash, a fast flash. So it's preset for that. You don't have to do any wiring on these. Everything's ready. It's just, and I buy all my stuff that's set from 9 volt to 19 volts AC.
Okay.
Actually, these are AC/DC because LEDs you can run AC or DC.
Oh, really? I did. Okay, well that's good to know. For when I start adding some lights, because I can add them to my DC power supply, which is 12 volt constant.
Well, no, because if you're not putting a rectifier in there, then I think it's 3.6 volts.
Okay, so it is limited.
Just an LED period. Without, don't quote me. I'm not, but I think. But once you rectify them, then you could, So if it's 12 volt AC going in, but it's the 3 volt going out, then that's fine.
Oh, okay.
So they just have to. But to try to figure all that stuff out in solder, it's easier just to order from them what you want. You can order different voltages, what you need. You can order different length wires. Like sometimes I'll know that I want, longer leads. So they offer 14 up to 14-inch leads. It adds pennies to the thing.
Okay.
It's all expensive. Once I don't think I've ever ordered from there and it's not $300-400, but you get a lot of light.
Oh yeah,
The string lights are expensive, but they're so nice. Instead of doing like when I want to light entire building, they sell either 12, and those I use it's called the mega chips. So they're like 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch chips. They put out a lot of light, and they'll either have 12 string or 26 string. So like I'll do 12s in here, 12s, but then I'll probably get I'll get a couple of 26s for here, and that'll put a lot of light. That you'll see all that detail in there easily.
Wow. I'm just amazed about how much you got done already. We were just talking at the show about this.
This is the easy part. Dude, it is. Once you start to this took me all day yesterday to just do that one stack.
Oh, the stack.
Yeah, because I started another one in there to add the detail, but to add all that detail, that was like all day. Because each one of these, you can see the rivet detail on there. So each one of those strips, then I have a tool I use that I hand hammer the rivet detail into it.
You do?
Well, wow. It's instead of doing long strips, because I don't know necessarily needed a long strip, so I cut the strips I need, then add the detail. And then these are bolt details from Tichy that are up here. So you got bolt details at that top flange, then you got bolt details down at the bottom flange. But then the inspection hatches, I make each one of those. And that's I actually have it's a hole punch, but I got bigger sizes that I can punch the styrene out for whatever I need. And then that's all Tichy detail, bolt details in there. And then this is all just styrene, tubing and channel pieces that I make the pipe. Again, not having, if anybody out there has that knowledge, I see this on the stacks all the time, but I have no idea what it's for. I don't know what that extra pipe is that runs up, and I have no idea. But looks cool, and I see it on pictures, so I added it.
Well, the nice part about my videos is people like to leave comments and get involved.
Well, good. Maybe somebody will be like, "That's actually for." I was going to ask Bobby, the guy who's should be coming soon. He works at power plants, but he's an electrician in a power plant. I don't know if he'd actually know what that does either.
Oh, okay. Wow. And again, we have the brass details up here.
Yeah, the fans. Yeah, the cooling fans that take the heat away from the heat exchangers there. The condensing unit, and then the things that I'm actually using for the coils, the condensers inside. Those are air filters for a Honda backpack blower.
Oh wow!
That I just cut them to fit and then paint them silver.
It's perfect. So you really think about this? Like, okay, what can I use?
Well,
to...
I look at a picture and I'm like, all right, what the heck? Because it was like, I'm not building that because that would take forever. So I was like, what can I use? And I usually, my favorite store to walk through is Home Depot or Lowe's.
Okay.
Because they was, so I walked through and actually that one was by accident. I needed something for my house, so I went in the lawn because I usually would never think to go in the lawn department.
Right.
And I went in the farm. I'm like, those are perfect. So I bought 6 filters for a Honda backpack blower.
And the guy probably thought you had a landscaping business.
Exactly.
You really got a lot done. And it's good that everybody gets to see this in the rough stages.
Well, it's people ask all the time, how do you make your buildings? You try to, because a lot of people, you say, I use black foam core. A lot of people don't even know what that is. It's like it's a heavy, basically like a heavy gauge poster board. It's got a foam center to it, but it's very stable.
Right.
Cuts and glues easily.
And what size is this foam board that you get?
If I buy it from like Michael's, it's 24 by 18. If you actually go to Staples and they have the trifolds, like kids use in school projects, that you can get whatever the trifold measures. I think when it's completely open, it's 48 inches by 36 inches.
Wow.
But like everything else, though, it's become expensive. It used to be dirt cheap. Now it's getting up there in price. So
even foam core, huh?
Everything's getting up in price. I think I used to pay like $3-4 a sheet, and it was like $12 or $13 a sheet.
Wow.
I was like, oh, crap. So right here, there's probably $100-something in foam core sitting here.
Jeez, I didn't realize stuff got that expensive.
This bill, so put it that by the time I'm done, there'll probably be $1,000-$1,200 in this building. But you couldn't have this building made for that.
Oh,
you
no.
Several $1,000s.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's still cheaper to make them yourself.
Oh, yeah. I think I mentioned that in the last video. We were talking about that.
Yeah, could you imagine like having TW Train Works or something make this building for you? I mean, not that I'm saying they do a phenomenal job, but you'd be probably $10,000 to have this thing for. Well, what did the independent high railers had the New Jersey, the Empire State Building built? I would say that was $5,000 or $6,000.
Wow.
That that Empire State Building there.
Yeah.
That's expensive. And listen, they're in business. They're in business to make money. I'm not faulting them.
Right. Yeah. I get it. I understand.
But we couldn't afford to do that.
And so like we were talking about before, how you got the Menards buildings out there, and you have the Woodland Scenics. Because they're already done, people buy them, but you could probably build them for like half the price.
I don't know about half the price, but I don't know. I mean, adding all the details expensive, all those little detail parts.
Right.
So I mean, but even if you are a little less, it wouldn't. Even if it was more expensive, I like building stuff. It's all what you're, and not to. I don't like. Nobody has anything like this. There isn't any buildings on our layout anymore that's a copy of anything else. So, the thing is the Woodland Scenics buildings, they're nice, but I mean, everybody has them.
Right.
The MTH buildings, when they originally came out, I had a boatload of my first layout ever. I had all those MTH buildings. I slowly but surely got rid of them, and as my skills got better, I started scratch building everything.
Okay.
Just because it's enjoyable to me, it's the most enjoyable part of the hobby, and second, I like having things that are unique.
Yeah, I have met people who enjoy building like you do, and they just have the trains to run through what they build.
Yeah, that's all. To me, I've said that before. The trains are secondary to me. I'm not a big train guy. I like building stuff, but I mean, I own trains, but I could take or leave the train. I mean, at the shows, sometimes I run, sometimes I don't. Depends.
So this is absolutely starting out great already.
Well, you get the idea of what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Which is why I like to get it to this point, because then I can, as I look stuff, I can tweak. Like I've moved these things around 100 times. Moved different positions, and I also got to make sure I have clearances that nothing's going to hit it with the train when it goes by.
Right. And everything has to be removable on top of that,
No,
right?
no, this is all this gets mounted stays. These all go, remember, all more stuff goes into the racks.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So this looks like it's very high. This is actually, they call this a porch. This is a piece that's actually attached to the back. So this will come off, and maybe I'll put first of all, I can't leave this in the trailer because I'd be worried that if I didn't get all the smoke fluid and everything out of the fluid that it could freeze. And I don't want to crack. I don't want it to damage those smoke units.
Right.
So this I'll probably throw it in my back seat of my car or something and just keep it in here. And then just so I made this higher, knowing that this wasn't going to have to go in a rack. So that's why I put the smokestack. So when I thought this out, I'm like, okay, I try to keep everything under 24 inches because then I know that works out in the racks that go into the trailers. If I go above that, then I have to figure out a different way to transport that. So I said, okay, let me put the part with the smokestacks behind it and I knew I was going to have to add a porch somewhere because I knew that I didn't have enough room to get that stepped look that I wanted with the building. I didn't want it to be all linear. I wanted it to look like it had,
It's funny that you mentioned racks because in one of my photos or videos, I forgot what I did. It was quite some time ago, and in the photo or video, I caught the racks were still being
they're usually off to the side.
Right.
We every once in a while the shows are so packed that Greenbird makes us put them back in the trailers.
Oh, okay.
They won't let us leave them there. But if there's room, they're always like, yeah, put them over against the
wall. But when I panned around and somebody seen the racks, they were like amazed how you guys built them.
Yeah, no, those so the modules are done, and then I'll spend like a weekend just building racks, and usually I'm by myself because I don't want people to ask, like I just want to be left alone because those are actually almost as complicated as these are. Because you're sitting there trying to figure out, going, all right, wait a minute, this one's going to go in this way, but I want this one to tuck underneath here. So, you're pulling numbers and laying stuff out on plywood, racing that out, this line, and figure out, because, especially when I built the last racks, which were, plywood was $100 a sheet. So it was like, I'm not screwing this up.
Right.
So, and then I'll cut out areas to try to lighten it up then, and then, I pocket screw the thing together, and then I have really heavy duty casters on the bottom that I use.
Okay.
My least favorite part. So when you pull it, I like doing it by eye, but it does have a backup safety feature. So, you'll pull it in, and I'll be like, okay, I think that's where it should be. And I look back here, there's actually a green LED light.
I see that, yeah.
So there's sensors in here. As long as you got a solid green light on that, you're good to go. And then it's a one button push. Push it, the things come down, lock the car in.
Wow. So the coupler doesn't change
It's a rotary coupler. It's a rotary coupler. They're designed for that.
Oh, okay.
So you have to use either a Lionel or an Atlas car.
Gotcha.
And then you have to make see how they have the painted ends?
Yeah.
In prototype too, that tells you that's the rotor end on a car.
Oh, I didn't know that. Like I said, when I was in Kansas at the coal burner, I witnessed this. It's pretty amazing. I mean, the size of the train and the car is just sitting there.
That's what Al from Millhouse said. He goes, you're not going to be doing 60 cars at a show because he has this set prototypical. So he's like, it takes them all day to unload a coal train. So he's like, you're not going to, he goes, you'll be all day. So he goes, I suggest you go 5-6 cars at a time.
You can get them trucks, and you probably do that to some of your other hoppers then.
Yeah, I wonder if you could get the Lionel trucks separate.
Atlas, get the Atlas one, because Atlas, you'd be able to get them.
Oh yeah, because I'm sure that whole rotary set's all part of the one piece.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to have two painted ends together instead. Because then you'll be tipping over the whole train.
And then it's, like I said, it's completely automatic. So one push button. And then when it gets back here, those will unlock. You look down here, you got a solid green.
How's it going, guys?
And that's it. You just go to the next car.
Looking good, man.
It's coming out good, isn't it?
Oh, shit, yeah. Looking really good.
And then again, I do it by eye, so I went a little too far on that. Even though I have a green light, I see that the wheel is sticking through. So I just back it up a little bit, and then right there. I still got a green light.
Now, when they're doing this, is there somebody generally standing there saying, okay, a little bit more forward? Or...
Well, they'll see it from the control room.
Okay.
They'll see where, you know, this is, the ones I've seen pictures of, that's kind of prototypical. There's a control room, and they're over top looking down into the thing.
Oh, okay.
So, and there's also, there's water constantly, like spraying down as they're doing it. So I might actually incorporate that, like look like the little jets. Obviously, I'm not going to have water spraying, but incorporate it.
Isn't it? Oh, just fantastic.
And I think, I mean, I have, like, obviously I had to condense this down, but, you know, so you're going to assume that this is the cold drop. You're going to assume that the breaker is underneath here. Here's the conveyor that sets the pulverized coal up. I'm going to fabricate 4 boilers to go in here, so they drop into the boilers.
Yeah.
Here's your smokestacks, and I got the smoke units for here. These will come out. There's going to be piping that I have in here that then goes into here. I have these turbines made by Shapeways, so there'll be 4 turbines sitting in here.
Yeah.
The return back into the condensate unit that condenses it back down, drops the water back.
Are you going to do that with the split of the modules, Matt, with the pipe work?
It's a lift after like I have on his.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah. With a little micro plug because I'll have lighting on it.
Okay.
And then I have lights that I just ordered from Evans, chip lights that'll run up the sides of these.
Now, are you going to candy cane them or no?
Nah, I thought about it, and then I was
Because I see the picture behind
yeah, one of them, but I kind of like that look where it's just the steel.
Okay.
That's it. You just keep going with the train and just keep, you know.
And down there, the yards, the switch out, that's just
There you go.
fantastic.
Well, that goes past here, and then this will be. I'll have this like a fenced over here where the trucks are, and then back out onto the main line. So, and then this is the service area. So I'll have one truck in here. Let's get service. I put an inspection pit in for this side, so you'll see that. And then over here are the 2 boilers that will be. You'll see through these windows. Those are the boilers that actually heat the building. Those are the heating.
Really nice. Really, really nice.
A lot of work.
Oh, there's still a ton. That's what I mean. This is the easy part. Now coming down.
What is this? Is this actual windows? Or is this something you make?
So this is what I make out of. So this is
Okay.
that's the same way I make the condensate unit out of. These are the grids that go in drop ceilings for lights.
Okay. Pretty good imagination, man.
Well, I've actually used that trick before.
Because I would have never in a million years thought of something like
A lot of
that.
stuff I what was I show before? Well, like that, you know, all my fencing, all my equipment are all chicken wire.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for ages.
Now, what are those fans? Are they locomotive fans?
The locomotive fans is stuff I got from Precision Scale.
Okay.
But the condenser units do have fans that pull the heat off.
Mm-hmm.
Because these are coils in there that you know cool everything down. And the coils are, you would probably recognize those. They're air filters for Honda backpack blowers.
They look like wheel blowers.
Yeah, no, I
wheel
just say yeah. So yeah, that's what I made the coils out of. Bagels? Guys want bagels?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice.
You get that, see that little bump you get? That is the reason, is because he uses Atlas track. So there's a little bit difference in, and he does actually kind of shave the edge of the Atlas track, but there's still a little, and then this whole drum, you know, for transport lifts right out. And then there's a cable you disconnect on the bottom, that's it. So the drum doesn't sit in there for, so I had to design all this that I knew I had room to, you know, I'll have to do it from the front.
Matt, would it make sense for us to put a piece of Atlas track in here so it's smoother? Or you think that it'll just...
Yeah, you would have the transition somewhere. I'm not really.
Or sand the cork down a little bit.
First of all, you're crawling through that thing in a mile an hour. You know,
Because I have an Atlas switch on my layout. Made it up to the Gargraves track, and I don't remember it ever having. It was a pretty smooth transition.
it's got a lot. I mean, you got to remember, like you're coming in through this way. You know, you're coming into this thing at a mile an hour.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's very slight.
John's body wasn't even cold.
And this is the dead rail is perfect for this because you have such control over the thing.
I'll say this, Bobby. I always liked John's modules. I thought that they were very, very well done. But this is...
Yeah, but they were well done for 20 years ago.
Man.
Because that's what I said. I said, John, how old are your modules? He's like, I don't know. He goes, they got to be going on 20 years.
Yeah.
All right, so today's goal is to get all this old ballast off. Which you can see on some of these modules shouldn't be hard. Because it's like falling off. And then it's a 4-to-1 mix.
Oh, okay.
So if City Express sells it.
Matte medium. All right. For that's what you use for your ballast.
I mean, you can use Mod Podge. It's really, I'm pretty convinced that that's probably what that is. You could use Mod Podge and mix that just thin too. I don't know if you ever see Mod Podge, but they use it to in like crafts. Ever see people when they do like collages and then they'll paint it to like a glossy?
Oh yeah.
You use Mod Podge on there. I use gloss Mod Podge for my waterways that I don't use real water on because it dries. It looks like water. It's that little stream on the back part. You know the town part on the R modules. That little stream is all Mod Podge.
Okay.
What would be without Matt? Yeah, I mean, what he's brought to it. We'd be like the Independents. I know. When I came back from Kansas and I came to that show and I walked down, I'm like, what the hell happened? This is American Valley High Rails.
Wow. So that's what all the electronics and stuff looks like, huh?
And so the guy Al who owns Millhouse, so it wouldn't work when I first got it. I put it in, it wouldn't work. So I called him up, and he was on the phone with me for an hour. And I had it on speaker, and he's going through. He goes, "Listen," he goes, "I bench test them all." He goes, "Those things are bulletproof." He goes, "It has to be something in transport. A wire came loose." So he goes, "All right, we're going to start first board from the left. Blue wire should be here. Red wire should be here. Green wire should be here." Blah blah blah. He went through the whole thing. I'm like, "No, that's all down here." Blah 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 blah. Ah, there it is. All right, put that wire in there. Boom boom boom. Set the thing in. And I'm like, it works like a charm. He goes, I'm telling you. I said, what are you looking at a picture? He goes, no. He goes, you know what those things I build? He goes, I don't think by heart. But then he sends you. So, because he goes, occasionally, especially you guys are transporting it, he goes, that's probably going to happen again.
Oh, okay.
But he goes, if you look in the instructions, the back of the instructions, he goes, obviously you didn't read the instructions all the way through. I said, well, I kind of perused them. Because if you go all the way to the back of the instructions, there is everything of what he went through with me. So it's like you just have to occasionally check to make sure that that's all tight and all in there. And he's like, but he's like, no. He goes, those things are bulletproof. He's like that.
What was disconnected? Do you remember?
One of the wires. One of the wires was disconnected.
So does this come like as a kit? You assemble all this, or is it?
No, it's literally it's this came shipped together, except for this front plate. This isn't on. You have to put that on. I don't know what something was shipping. They just don't. So I put that front plate on.
Okay.
Cut the hole, set the thing in, screw it down to the thing, and that's it. Set the thing in there. When you do set in, there's a couple things. So these are limit switches. So when you set that drum in there, like you have to, because that one pin wants to sneak behind this limit switch.
Okay.
You have to make sure that you kind of put it in this way that it hits that limit switch first, and then that's the limit switch that's this way, and then that's the limit switch when it goes that way.
Oh, all right.
And then those are all adjustable. So like if you wanted to adjust, you can adjust, and there's different. And then there's also sensory. Oh, these little screw turns here. You can set the sensor to make it more sensitive, and that he walked me through also, like how to. And this is it. Just using the rubber ballast.
Oh, okay.
And whenever you can get me some of that.